everyone, my name is Alexandra and I am a watercolor artist. Today I'm taking you guys outside to teach you how to paint 4 different watercolor flowers in under 15 minutes. This video is super helpful if you enjoy painting florals and botanicals. These flowers are good to start with, practice with, and use in your paintings. We are going to be learning to paint a rose, tulip, hydrangea, and lavender. Let's get started. For today's tutorial, you guys will need 2 cups of water. 1 is for clean water, 1 is for dirty water. I am using Philosophy and Co's Terrain watercolor palette today. Biggest thing with today's painting is that you guys will need some kind of green paint, and because we're painting flowers, flowers that come in a lot of different colors, you guys can kind of choose what colors you want, but I will talk you through what I'm using as I'm painting. For paper, I have 140-pound cold press paper. I have a napkin for dabbing my paintbrushes on, and for paintbrushes, I have 2 of them. I have Opus Allegro number 4 and number 0. The idea is that you guys want a smaller paintbrush and a medium-sized paintbrush, but whatever you have should work. Let's get started. So the first thing that we are going to paint is our rose. I'm starting with my paintbrush that is bigger of the 2, and I'm going to go in and get some of my red paint. I'm just gonna mix a color that I'm happy with. So I kind of mix some red, pink, and orange there. Roses come in so many different colors, so you guys can use whatever you would like. Little friend on here. Oh, there, he's good. He crawled away. Okay, so we're just gonna start in this corner here. The first thing that you guys are gonna do is paint 2 little sort of C curves. And with our roses, the idea is that we're building out from that center circle. So I'm working my way around with these sort of half moon shapes. And I'm keeping the inside of the half moon sort of smooth, and then I have it a little bit more wavy towards the outside. So the concept with this is that I'm putting the tip of my paintbrush down, applying pressure as I pull back, and working my way out. And I want this rose to look like it's opening up. So I'm actually just gonna add a little bit to these bottom petals here. And we're gonna do 1 more here. And then if you want, you guys can go in with a little bit of darker color and just paint it in, and we're following the same concept. So we're doing these sort of half circle shapes. We're bringing the base petals out a little bit more. And now I'm going to take my small paintbrush and we're gonna paint in the stem. I'm just gonna do a little wavy line. And now for the leaves of this one, I'm applying pressure as I pull back. If you guys want more detail on how to paint leaves, I do have a few tutorials on this. For my rose specifically, I'm giving this one some jagged edges. All right, so next flower that we are going to paint is going to be a tulip. So for our tulip, I am going to paint it, sort of a yellowy orange. All right, so this one we're using our bigger size paintbrush, and what we're going to do is you're going to put the tip of your paintbrush down, apply pressure as you pull back, and we're getting it sort of into a teardrop shape. So I'm actually gonna let that dry a little bit and paint the stem, and then I'm gonna come back and do our other 2 petals. So again, I'm going in with my green paint, and I'm going to paint the stem down. And this one, we're gonna do some smooth and a little bit longer, skinnier leaves. So it's a little bit different from the rose that we painted. And I'm using my small paintbrush for this as well. Okay, so now that I've given some time for that first petal to dry a little bit, I'm gonna go over top with my same color, and I'm going to overlap my next two petals. So you'll see how they end up layering. And now we're gonna go back in with our green and just add some little petals at the top here, or just at the base of the flower. And there you have a nice simple tulip. All right, so next thing we're going to paint is a hydrangea. These ones are so fun for me to paint. For this flower, we're going to be using the wet on wet technique. So what I want you guys to do is wet your paintbrush with water, and you're gonna paint sort of a splotch on your paper. You wanna make sure that there's not too much water, that it's not running too much. And you can kind of do a few clusters, so it'll be hard to see right now until I actually add the paint on. So if you guys just bear with me, you'll see more what it looks like in just a second here. So now on to where I added the water on my paper. I'm just dotting in some colors of blue paint. And now I'm gonna go in and same idea, but I'm gonna add a little bit of purple in there. So with hydrangeas, you guys, if you've seen them, you know that they get such a pretty mix of colors. So depending on what time of year they are, honestly, the color changes. So they're really fun to paint because you can choose what style, what color you want them to look like. So I'm just gonna go around the outside now and sort of define that a little bit more. And now, once again, we're gonna go in and add our stem. And we're gonna add some big leaves. So this one I'm kind of sticking with my bigger paintbrush here. And I'm doing similar idea to the rose. I'm doing the leaves that are a little bit more jagged, leaving some white space. So I'm working my way, starting from the edges and working my way in. And now I'm gonna go in with my little paintbrush just because I want to add some more detail to my hydrangea. So I'm mixing a little bit of blue and purple together. Gives me this really nice shade. And I'm painting in circular motions just around my flower. So I'm starting from the outside. You'll notice that I'm not going around the full border, but I just want to add some more definition to it. And now I'll work my way inside. And again, I'm doing these little sort of half circle squiggly shapes, and that's just to give it some more depth. So if you wanted to add even more detail to your hydrangea, you can do those shapes more intentionally in the shape of little flowers. But if you're just going for that loose and really natural look, then you don't, or yeah, loose and effortless look, I guess you don't need to be too picky about the actual shapes. So if I want to, I can take a little bit more of a purple color and I can go in and do the same idea and sort of just fill in the gaps. I really like using the wet on wet technique first because it just gives, yeah, it gives a really cool look with the mixture of colors. And then if we wanted to, we can add just a little bit more detail into our leaves as well. All right, so the last flower that we're gonna do is our lavender. So I sort of already have my purple color mixed here. This one I'm gonna make it a little bit more purple tone than blue, but I still like the mixture. I'm taking my small paintbrush. If you guys want to use the pencil first and draw a line as a guide, then that definitely helps. But essentially, we're gonna follow a line and just do little petals all the way down. So I'm gonna start from my top one, and I'm just doing tiny little round petals, and we're working our way down. So in some spots, I am doing the petal in front of that sort of imaginary line that you guys may have drawn. And we're just working our way down. All right, so now once I painted this, I can take a little bit of blue if I want and just add it in. I'm gonna add a little bit more purple to that. So I'm essentially just going on top of the shapes that I've already painted, but I'm showing that lighter color through the bottom still. And we're just adding a little bit of shading here. So you'll notice that for my lavender, I just have a bunch of random little purple circles, and then we're gonna go in and add our green. I've mixed a lot of my greens just with a little bit of red to tone down the brightness of it. So that's just a tip. If you find that you're painting things like florals and it's too bright, seems too aggressive, doesn't actually seem like it looks like in nature, then you can tone it down by using a little bit of red. So now, again, with my small paintbrush, I'm going in and I'm starting from that top, petal flower, and we are working our way down, and I'm not going over top of the petals that I had drawn in the middle. And I'm gonna work my way down, and I'm gonna do just little branches coming out to all of them to just connect it to that center stem. With my leaves, just because often I have to wait for things to dry, I'm gonna go back and just add a little bit of detail into the ones that I did in the beginning. So with my rose, I'm just adding the vein and some lines coming out from the center. And with my tulip as well, I'm gonna do the same, where I'm gonna add a vein, but for this one, I'm painting half of the leaf darker to give it that look. And then again, just going back quick over all my paintings to add more detail now that they're fully dry. With my tulip, I'm gonna go over these front leaves. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my paintbrush from the top, and I'm doing, from the top of the petal, and I'm doing some lines coming down from it, just to give it more depth, so you guys can see how quick it can be to paint little flowers and how easy and effortless it can be. So here we have 4 different flowers painted in under 15 minutes. So I challenge you guys to try this on your own, see how it works, practice it. The more that you do it, and for you guys, obviously you don't have to rush, but the more that you do it, the easier you'll find that it becomes. And by doing this, by starting with the really simple version, it gets easier and easier to add more and more details. So give this a try. Thanks for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I challenge you guys to follow along. The more that you practice painting flowers like these, if you start simple, it becomes a lot easier to add more and more details in it, and it's super helpful, especially if you like painting florals. If you did follow along, make sure to send me a picture, share it with me on Instagram at Alexandra Victoria Studio. I absolutely love to see what you guys are painting, so please do share. Also, comment below what you'd like to learn next. If there's anything floral, botanical, anything in that realm, let me know. Also, if you haven't already, make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.